UFC Kansas City was a few days ago, and for this card, I'll be giving you my full recap, my full opinions on each fighter on this card, my opinions on their future opinions if they're overrated or not after this performance, and every fight to make after. This UFC card had a bunch of ups and downs. You know, we had the main event, the fan favorite falling to Ian the Cuck. We had the fan favorite Anthony Smith getting absolutely murdered, but everyone was happy about it. So, it couldn't have been any other way. And yeah, let's just hop right into the video. Iskar Malaskarov, he started off the main card with a knockout win over Andre Muniz in the first round. And my takeaway is the dentist brother in the mountain. And he's kind of a fraud wrestler. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have wrestling, but I'm just saying whenever you look at these Dagestanis, you're probably like, oh, I gotta watch this wrestling game. I gotta, But Iskar Malascarov's a straight up gorilla. Like his arms are gigantic. He has a really like bulky build. Like he's small for the middleweight division, but his length is there and he's jacked, so it doesn't really matter. And he just dinked a little left hand off of Muniz's temple to just knock him out, finish him with a nice ground and pound where he looked like straight up just like some silverback just fucking raining hooks over and over. And yeah, I think showed really good stuff. I think this is a great performance to have after Robert Whitaker. Thing is though, Andre Muniz, he's kind of one-way traffic when it comes to him striking. I mean, he was trying to counter strike. He was Izzy maxing, like he was just trying to find a counter shot, but it's not like Andre Muniz is a great counter striker in the first place, and he doesn't have the knockout power to like Andre Muniz needed to go first. He needed to push a pace, and instead he just hanged back on the fence and let Iskra Malascara finally find his knockout blow. When you watch that fight, you just see a lot of accurate shots about. You see a lot of accurate shots by Iskram. A lot of the shots were landing the mark, and Andre Muniz had pretty much nothing against it. Like he just kept on backing up against the fence. Iskra Malascara would feint a little bit, then he would hit him with a straight right or a hook. Andre Muniz would like flinch a little bit, and then finally just that little dinky shot. And to be honest, it makes me excited for his future, knowing that he has this KO power where he doesn't even need to land clearly, and he can still knock you out. So I think he will be a top 15 in the future. I think you need to be quick and dynamic on the feet. Like, what's an example? Maybe an MVP would definitely beat Iskram. I know that's a hard opponent for anyone, but someone who's just fast, can mix it up, who's able to just be dynamic and kind of be on a bicycle, Like Iskram, he's really good at just tracking you down. And if you're Muniz maxing where you're just flat-footed at the fence, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a given that you're going to get knocked out. So I think he will be top 15 in the near future. And my fight to make next would be the loser of Rainer DeRitter versus Bo Nickel. I think this would be a fun matchup. And to be honest, Rainer DeRitter and Bo Nickel, the loser of that matchup, is kind of lost in the middleweight division. So I think a matchup against Iskram would be good. Kind of keeps the hype alive for either one of them. It's a fun matchup. And yeah, it's a step up of competition. And yeah, I know it's another maybe ranked contender, but I think if you just, I mean, he lost to Robert Whitaker. So, I mean, can we give him a break for that? Like number 2 ranked Robert Whitaker. Like, I don't think we should fully make him work up the ladder again. So, yeah, Dagestani Gorilla, Iskar Malaskarov, Abus Magomedov. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this fight. It was so shit. But Abus won via his opponent sucking. And what Abus is doing is that he's completely switched his style. When you first watch him in the UFC, he fought Sean Strickland, Dustin Stoltzkis. And in those fights, he pushed a mean pace and immediately finished them in the first few rounds. He has a lot of power in his hands. He has a really good chin. He is kind of dynamic and well-rounded where he can mix in the wrestling, but that's not his game. But what he's recently been doing, which is actually like infuriating to watch, is that he's farming middleweights with the shittiest gas tanks and just winning lackluster decisions by not really throwing a lot of volume, but doing a little bit more than his opponents. And it's smart because it's working. But once he gets to actual high-tier competition that is able to push a pace and is able to actually want to, throw against him, he's going to have a harder time. He has, I don't know, a lot of that performance, he didn't really do anything. He he had some good leg kicks against Michelle. He took him down a couple times. And yeah, it was his opponent wasn't trying. His opponent has one round to do something before he gasses. And in the first round, he was kickboxing at. I don't know why these UFC fighters completely switch up their game plan and just try something that they haven't tried in years that makes them complete dog shit. Like, who the fuck told Michelle Pereira to have a timid game plan? Like, who said that? Who thought that was a good idea? Michelle Pereira gasses in 3 minutes. And the thing is, he didn't throw anything in the first 5 minutes, but he was still gassed, just going out there and just doing his weird little karate stance and doing nothing. Like, I don't know. It's whatever. This fight sucked. And yeah, it was a complete 180 from the first few fights of Abus Magomedov. I just want to point on Michel Pereira for a little bit. He sucks at dancing. Whatever that they not like us, his little shimmy, his little shuffle. It probably gassed him out before the fight. I mean, he had absolutely nothing. I mean, like, I mean, he looks homeless. I know that's unnecessary to add, but he does. And it just seemed like he didn't try. I mean, there's no like sense of urgency to finish your opponent, and that's all you have. Like, all you have is finishing potential, and you went out there and tried to leg kick at range. Like, I don't know how the fuck you thought that would work. My opponent, where I think Abu should fight next, is the salty man Joe Piper. You know, just let an entertaining contender who is fighting Kelvin Gastelum next, but who the fuck cares? Let him handle this. I hate Abus. I don't hate him, but I dislike Abus, and I want him to face some real hard-hitting competition who won't gas in 2 minutes, you know? So, yeah, let's move on. Rasta man. Kind fella Brown no more. I wouldn't call him rude boy. I would call him sassy man, something like that. I wouldn't call him full rude yet. He hasn't been in the rankings. Let's wait a little bit, but he's starting to actually combine his lengthiness with finishing ability. And knowing Randy Brown and watching his past fights, it's so nice to see that, because in his past fights with Brian Battle, I forgot the other guy. But in his past fights, he was just kind of throwing shit to throw stuff. It wasn't really to knock out his opponent. It was just to get the volume, to look good on the judges' scorecards. But now Randy Brown, he immediately was sprinting after his opponent right when the fight started. And then the thing that I like about him too now is that he isn't open necessarily. He did get countered a lot by Nicholas Dalby, and that's just because he's a dog and is able to eat through a lot of Randy Brown's shots. But he wasn't really opening up too much. He was just keeping it calm, calculated, and just hitting Randy Brown or hitting Nicholas Dalby at the end of his power shots with his 6'3" reach, and it looked really clean. It was a crisp performance. He's sitting on his punches. His glass is still worse than a ninth grader's, but it's whatever, you know. We still love him. Yeah, he's trusting his chin more, which I appreciate. It's just making the fight more entertaining. And yeah, a lot of these fighters, they have to get in the inside and make it a dogfight. And Nicholas Dalby was doing it. He was doing everything in his power to win. Good for him. But yeah, Randy Brown was just able to outreach him, and every time he was hit by a shot, he was just able to back up and just line up a perfect shot against Nicholas Dalby. He flatlined him in the second round. Great performance by Randy Brown. I do think he'll be getting overrated terribly after this performance. I do think Randy Brown's good. I just think with that chin, here's a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to get hit by one of these people and he's going to go down. And Nicholas Dalby, you know, he is good, but he isn't, you know, the craziest of finishers. So I don't know. I'm not sure about Randy Brown's future. I do think he deserves a ranked opponent next, though. Because, you know, it wasn't really even a loss to Brian Battle, and I don't think anyone minds if he gets a ranked opposition before Brian Battle, because Brian Battle, you know, the hype's not really there. So the fight to make next, he did call him out, but Carlos Prates is the perfect fight to make. Prates coming off a decision loss, makes sense ranking wise, makes sense everything wise. I think it's a really fun matchup. So yeah, Carlos Prates versus Randy Brown. I don't know, like September or something. Not September. That's probably a little too far. But anyways, let's move on. No shenanigans. David Onama is mid. And I think David Onama is just mid in general, but he had a good victory on Saturday. He's I already made this joke, but he has a chin of a sixth grade girl. He got rocked by Giga Chikadze, and he did survive well, and he is better at surviving than I remembered. But yeah, it was just on the feet. He was having a smart performance, just keeping it cool, calculated, just faint match, but it was just fainting. And then David Onama would throw a right hand, it would connect, and then Giga would do something. It was pretty back and forth on the feet. He did not really overswing too much. He's usually crazy open. He usually is shenanigans central, just straight throwing punches in the fucking pocket with Nate Landwehr and getting rocked by fucking Roberto Romero, who lost to Timothy Kwamba earlier this round. David Onama's confusing fighter. But anyways, he survived that onslaught at the beginning. It wasn't really an onslaught. Just Giga hit him with the right hand, and then he started doing the chicken dance. But after the second round, Giga Chikadze, it's just Giga after the first round is not the same Giga. And David Onama just found paths to victory every time. He just kept on getting takedowns. Giga wouldn't be able to get up. And David Onama, even though he was kind of mid, he didn't really do any damage. I think he had a, easy path to winning. And yeah, Giga's only dangerous before 7 minutes into the fight. And the fight I think you should make next is Chepe Mariscal. Now, I know that's a weird take. Chepe's on a 6-fight winning streak, and David Onama had a mid performance against Giga Chikadze. So I think this makes sense. This is for the ranking. And yeah, I know David Onama just won his last performance, but the featherweight rankings are just really hard to. There's not really many top contenders right now. Brian Ortega's moving up to lightweight. Ilia Topuria is moving up to lightweight. There's really not too many top contenders anymore. So David Onama, I don't think he should get that jump. I think he should fight someone like Chepe Mariscal, who's on a big win streak. And yeah, let's move on. Zhang Minyang. What a wonderful performance that was. I mean, he just completely made Anthony Smith crash out at the end of the fight. He couldn't harm Zhang Minyang, so he tried to harm an audience member to take his anger out. And yeah, to be honest, I'll just give you a description of the whole fight here. I have nothing about Zhang Minyang. It's just all about Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, good-hearted, wholesome, good soul, puts a hat on a kid. He lasted around 2 minutes before he saw blood leak out of his forehead and then started looking into the audience asking for help, bro. It was terrible. Once that cut opened, it was just Anthony Smith you can tell when he checks out of fights, dude. It's just, you saw in his eyes that he was done. And then this is my theory, is that his kids were in the audience. His entire family was in the audience. And my theory is that Anthony Smith was just completely okay, I'm not trying to get knocked down in front of my family. Let's not get flatlined. Let's crawl up in a ball and get finished. And yeah, he just ended up doing that. He took 100 ground elbows from Zhang Minyang on the floor before he was finally mercy stopped. Yeah, he finishes it. Zhang Minyang is trying to celebrate, but then Anthony Smith is flipping off people in the audience. I think Anthony Smith was just it was kind of the thing that I love about Anthony Smith is that I think if he didn't react in the ways that he did, it would just be a really it would just be a really if he didn't react, he would be a really well-respected veteran who was just able to not win a championship, but just be able to be in the rankings. He would be well-respected. But the way he does it is that he'll lose a fight, then immediately cope and say Zhang Minyang would have lost to him in a couple years' time. And then he starts trying to fight someone in the crowd. And that it's just Anthony Smith is just a whole bucket of drama. And it's so fun to watching him make a fool of himself in his retirement fight. And yeah, it wouldn't be any other way, to be honest. I mean, he started yelling at people who were cheering at him to get pummeled. And yeah, I think Zhang Minyang should fight Nikita Krylov next. I think that makes sense ranking-wise. Nikita Krylov coming off of a loss to Dominic Reyes. I think it would be a fun fight, too. I think it's an actual test for Zhang Minyang. And yeah, Anthony Smith, Good retirement, bro. Honestly, I think Anthony Smith is not getting enough credit as he deserves. I mean, I know he was really just not a good fighter in his day. He wasn't really a top contender, but the amount of entertainment he has produced for us. Like, think of this like lackluster Kansas City fight night. Imagine if Anthony Smith wasn't on it. It would be a good card still, but it just wouldn't be the same. There was so much hype, there was so much anticipation just for watching Anthony Smith get his ass beat. And who can you say that about any like other fighter, you know? So, yeah, Anthony Smith, love that guy, man. Hopefully he has a good retirement with his family, you know. I'm happy I don't have to watch him get assaulted in the octagon because it doesn't even look like. I mean, in the first minute he was trying to throw, but he was just getting countered and shit. But dude, it doesn't even look like he's trying to win the fight. It looks like an assault at some points, dude. Like he's crumbling. He's asking for help. He's just I don't know. I don't. It's whatever. Let's move on. Ian Gary just evaporates hype. You know, I saw in a comment section that said that Ian Gary, you know, he hasn't gained a single bit of hype after like having a close fight with Shavkat and having a close fight with Carlos Prates, but he removes all other hype from other prospects. It's crazy to me. I mean, he was just way more confident going into this fight. I have no clue why. He was like hella trepidatious against Jeff Neal, but then Carlos Prates, here's a easy guy in front of me. I mean, that's just how you know your manipulation complex in your head. Like you can make yourself think anything. He's unfortunately one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. Ian Gary is. His jiu-jitsu is good. His wrestling's good. He's able to shoot 19 takedowns. He has a good gas tank. He has good striking. I have no clue I was doing this off of a vegan diet. And it's sad to say it, but like he is one of the most well-rounded fighters. Um but the thing is he's not well-rounded in the striking game where he's like dangerous nowadays. He's just well-rounded where he can just dodge like whatever you're doing and like leg kick you. Like Ian Gary has really good head movement recently, I've noticed, but he does not invoke any sense of danger towards his opponents. Like Carlos Prates was walking him down, and even though he was landing on him, Ian Gary, he wasn't a scratch on him. It was just a bunch of leg kicks, pitter pat, little stomps, some jabs, and the jabs would come every once in a while. But the moments were just watching Carlos Prates whiff on Ian Gary. That's how Ian Gary won the fight. Just the obvious, just Carlos Prates getting outmatched on the feet because of the range. It's kind of sad to see the new meta in the UFC is shooting a bunch of takedowns even if they miss. After in round 5 when Ian Gary was hurt, he just kept on Marab maxing, and it worked. I mean, to be honest, just it's sad, but I mean 19 takedowns for Ian Gary, and honestly, it's hard to formulate a game plan that's like beats Ian Gary because he's just this lengthy striker who's, you know, he's gonna be extremely cool, calm, collected on his bicycle in the outside, and you're not going to be able to hit him. And if you do, he's going to shoot for 10 takedowns. And so, yeah, it's just really annoying nowadays. Um, he was able to fight at his pace for the entire fight, and it wasn't really because Carlos Prates wasn't pushing his pace. It's just Carlos Prates' pace is pretty slow. It isn't too fast. So Ian Gary was really comfortable with it. It wasn't like MVP where he's like fucking like like in and out, in and out, in and out, where you're just like all of the time, just like what the fuck is going on. And yeah, I think the 5th round wasn't as close to a finish as everyone thinks. I think Ian Gary was just doing a little silly Sally routine, bro. I know he was probably rocked, but yeah, I think he would have survived no matter what. Like even if he followed up on the ground and pound when Ian Gary's head was right there, I don't think it would have mattered. I think Ian Gary would have still gotten up. And yeah, I think the fight that should be made next is Joaquin Buckley or Leon Edwards. I think Buckley should happen if Buckley beats Usman in Atlanta, and I think Leon Edwards is a good if matchup if Joaquin Buckley loses to Usman. I don't really want to see Usman versus Ian Gary. I don't think it's really that fun. So I think he should fight like Leon Edwards instead if Buckley loses. I think that would be a fun fight. I think it's good stylistically for Leon Edwards. And yeah, I think that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe for more. And until next time, yeah, see ya.